Love bombing. A deceptive strategy unfolds as the manipulator inundates their victim with affection, attention, and praise, creating a false belief in the victim that they are genuinely loved. The manipulator conveys intense emotions in the victim through excessive compliments, lavish gifts, and discussions of elaborate future plans, leading to perceive themselves as the most important person in their abuser's life. In reality, this explosion of positivity serves to quickly take control of power and influence. Love bombers aim to tether the victim to praise, only to abruptly withdraw it, creating a craving that makes the victim more sensitive to the abuser's requests. It is said that Adolf Hitler used love bombing techniques on his wife Eva Braun to maintain her proximity while pursuing his destructive political ambitions. Playing the victim, and commonly used tactic extends beyond manipulative individuals, even when they are not inherently abusive, to evade responsibility. This maneuver involves the manipulator portraying themselves as wronged or hurting themselves, masking their guilt. Playing the victim proves highly effective by shifting blame to others to gain sympathy through exaggerated problems and evading responsibility. It forces others to challenge the manipulator, requiring them to assert that the manipulator is completely wrong, a confrontation most people prefer not to have. The revenge or the coercion. In various forms, violence or coercion can manifest. First, if the victim fails to comply with the manipulator's wishes, the victim's physical threat of violence or property damage is obvious. Emotional threats such as threatening to end a relationship over minor differences or spreading damaging rumors are another aspect of this. Financial threats involve withholding support or jeopardizing monetary stability, a tactic favored by hackers in instances like the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, where a $4.4 million Bitcoin payment was demanded for a decryption key. Financial threats can escalate into legal threats, with one party threatened to sue another. Social threats involve manipulating the victim's reputation by bringing lies, smear campaigns, and slander, the topic we'll delve into later in the video. Gaslighting. When a person is seeking to sow seeds of doubt in another's perception of reality, memory, and sanity is a manipulative tactic. From the play Gaslight from 1938, the term depicts a husband's sinister manipulation of his wife, convincing her she's going insane by dimming the gas lights in their home, and then denying any flickering when she points. This insidious technique erodes the victim's confidence by using bewildering lies, by withholding information and shifting blame onto others. Besides dismissing the victim's perspective, they label their account as false, while asserting the manipulator's narrative is the truth. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping, another form of manipulation, involves making the victim feel remorseful about their actions or inaction in a particular situation. If a toxic person discovers that they hadn't been invited to a friend's party, they could say, "I can't believe you didn't invite me to your party. I thought we were closer than that," aiming to instill guilt and secure an invitation in the future. Isolation. Isolation, a cunning manipulation tactic, unfolds when a manipulator strategically removes the ties between the victim and their friends or family to ensure the absence of any supportive network that could. This involves eroding the victim's relationships with loved ones, slowly turning them against friends and family by convincing them that these connections are harmful to their well-being. The manipulator also fosters dependency by making the victim believe they need constant support or approval, instilling a sense of fear that they cannot survive without the manipulator. It is often employed by exploitive cults and online predators to exert control. Triangle. Triangulation emerges as a manipulation tactic where the orchestrator introduces a third party to induce jealousy or competition within the victim, which fosters the belief that they must compete for the manipulator's attention. The manipulator could use the third party to induce jealousy, engaging in flirtation and spending more time with them, while intentionally excluding the victim from shared activities. The manipulator may even spread rumors about the victim to the third party, fueling the notion of competition and creating further conflict. This psychological maneuver places the victim in a sensitive state, making them easier for both the manipulator and the third party involved to control. Aggressive jokes. Aggressive jokes, often harboring deeper intentions, become in various ways a tool for manipulating others. Shaha Arabi explores how narcissists from around the world are motivated by making malicious comments under the guise of humor. By disguised as jokes, they aim to say awful things while maintaining an innocent and cool appearance. Any outrage at their insensitive comments is met with accusations that they lack humor. These jokes transcend boundaries, from insult sarcasm, gaslighting to exclusionary comments reaching an entirely different level. There are also jokes strategically designed at social events to isolate the recipient, casting them as perceived fool, and turning everyone around them into unwitting aggressors. Emotional blackmail. The emotional blackmailer is a person who threatens to push through guilt or other forms of emotional manipulation to control and manipulate the victim. A common tactic includes the rejection of affection and support until the victim complies with the manipulator's demands. Often the manipulator makes promises to the victim, but later breaks them, adding an element of betrayal to the emotional manipulation. Projection. Projection is the act of ascribing one's own thoughts and feelings onto another, manipulating them into believing they are guilty of what the projector feels. It is also commonly recognized as victim blaming. Manipulators often assign blame to their victims for actions they themselves are guilty of, often not considering the stark contrast between their accusations against others and their own actions. Deflection. Another closely related tactic shares similarities with projection, but the manipulator is typically aware of their own hypocrisy in deflection, deliberately deflecting blame to avoid accountability. Similarly, projection involves a lack of self-awareness as the manipulator subconsciously shifts blame, axing the goalposts. The shift of the goalposts is a common tactic in arguments where the manipulator changes their criteria or standards of success and achievement to avoid admitting fault and taking responsibility. Imagine an employer giving the employee a raise for performing a specific task timely. If an employee does not complete the assignment on time, the boss changes the agreement, insisting on 3 additional tasks for the promised pay increase. A parent might also pledge to reward a child for cleaning the house, but later reneges on the promise, claiming that the child also needs high grades, a condition that had not been initially discussed. This tactic allows manipulators to avoid accountability and maintain control in various situations. Smear campaigns. Smear campaigns have become a widely discussed phenomenon. In recent years, they differ from many other manipulation techniques we have covered in this video. These attacks usually are not orchestrated by a single person against another, but are often cited by politicians and celebrities. These individuals often accuse the media and the general public of tarnishing their name and image for financial gain and attention, and attribute this to smear campaigns. Such campaigns involve spreading rumors and gossip about the victim to portray them as untrustworthy and unreliable. Character assassination is a significant element of smear campaigns where intentional misrepresentations and twisting words are used to fit a particular agenda. Any attacks on victims can easily be justified when the victim is perceived as unmoral or unethical. Notable examples include Michael Jackson, who accused the media of portraying him as a pedophile, which led to widespread attacks against him. Both instances serve as alleged examples of smear campaigns against individuals contributing to the polarized views on their character. Change subject. Changing the subject, a favorite tactic among manipulators, provides a quick distraction that victims can easily fall for unless they immediately call it out and steer the conversation back on course. The severity of this tactic varies. It is one of many subtle tricks that may prompt a victim to question whether deeper levels of manipulation are at play simultaneously. Playing on insecurity. Playing on insecurities is a manipulative strategy in which exploiters capitalize on their victims' fears, and fears deliberately cultivating feelings of insecurity and uncertainty. As long as the victim's confidence is weakened, they become more susceptible to the influence of the manipulator. A historical example is L. Ron Hubbard, founder of Scientology, known for exploiting people's insecurities to recruit them to his cult. Hubbard focused on those vulnerable and seeking personal transformation, while preying on their fears of the unknown and rejection by friends and family. He easily persuaded tens of thousands of people to obey his teachings by promising acceptance in Scientology. The fake moralization. Fake moralization is a manipulative tactic where the manipulator pretends to uphold high moral standards and values in order to gain control and power over others. Recognizing that authoritative or aggressive leadership is generally unpopular, manipulators conceal their true intentions through various methods such as virtue signaling, by publicly praising a cause. Manipulators who have a moral standing often engage in hypocritical behavior. The detection requires the victim's vigilant attention, a difficult task in most situations, making this tactic difficult to counter. Infantilization. Infantilization involves manipulating their victims by treating them as children or babies, achieved through a patronizing tone that belittles and disrespects the victim, or through intensive micromanagement of every aspect of their This tactic is intended to exert power and control the people. Enduring such demeaning treatment can demoralize a person, making it hard for them to summon the willpower to face the manipulator. Infantilization becomes a powerful tool for a manipulator to retain control over their victim.